Dear students, today's topic of my lecture electric dipole. So first you understand what is the actual meaning of electric dipole. Electric dipole is a system which consists a pair of equal and opposite charges separated by a small distance. You see onto the screen we are taking a pair of charges minus q and plus q separated by a small distance 2a. Then this system is known as electric dipole. Practical application: electric sockets in our houses, they are called electric dipole. They consist one positive point, another one is negative point and separated by a small distance. And the electric field which is produced by the electric dipole is known as electric dipole field. And strength of this electric field produced by electric dipole is measured by a physical quantity called electric dipole moment. It is given by product of magnitude of either charge and small distance between them. It is represented by a letter P, then it becomes P equal to Q into 2A. Q is the magnitude of either charge and 2A is the distance between them. 2A distance we take because of the some specific purpose, because in case of electric dipole all the distances are measured from center, so the calculation that becomes easy. Then the SI unit of electric dipole moment, charge is measured in coulomb and the distance measured in meter, so the SI unit of electric dipole moment becomes coulomb meter. It is a vector quantity and we can write it in the vector form: P vector equal to Q within bracket 2A vector. You can also write it like that: P vector equal to Q within bracket 2A and I cap. I cap is the unit vector along the positive x direction. Now the direction of electric dipole moment is always taken from negative charge to positive charge. You remember it in your CBSE exam. So many times in the 1 marks question they ask what is the direction of the electric dipole moment, and they also ask unit of electric dipole moment. So you remember it. If you remember the formula, then the unit you can write easily. Now you kindly note here, if Q gets larger and larger and the distance 2A becomes smaller and smaller, but keeping the product Q into 2A remains constant. In that condition, such dipole is called ideal or point dipole. Now we have to find out electric field intensity at a point on axial line of an electric dipole. So first you understand the meaning of the axial line. Axial line is the line that passes through the axis of an electric dipole. So you take any point over to it and find electric field intensity. For that purpose, what we do, we consider an electric dipole which consists minus q and plus q charges separated by a small distance 2a with center O in free space or vacuum. Let P be a point at distance small r from the center of the dipole at which electric field intensity is to be determined. So already you know that electric field intensity at a point due to the point charge is E equal to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught Q upon R square. So same way here we have to calculate electric field intensity at point P due to plus Q charge and then due to minus Q charge. After that we calculate the resultant electric field intensity at point P. Since electric field intensity depends on distance, so plus Q charge is at a small distance from point P. Therefore, electric field intensity at point P is greater than the electric field intensity at point P due to minus Q charge. So when E1 is greater than E2, E1 is the representation of electric field intensity at P due to plus Q charge, and E2 is the representation of electric field intensity at P due to minus Q charge. So if E1 is greater than E2, then the resultant electric field intensity is E1 minus E2. Now we calculate the magnitude of electric field intensity at point P due to plus Q charge and due to minus Q charge. After that, we calculate the resultant electric field intensity at P. That is called electric field intensity at a point P on an axial line of an electric dipole. Let us see. So here we apply the same formula which we have already studied in case of electric field intensity at a point due to the point charge. So electric field intensity at point P due to plus Q charge. So it becomes E1 vector mod. Either you write E1 vector mod or you write E1 because we are calculating magnitude, equal to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught Q upon Bp square. Bp square is the distance of plus Q charge from point P. Then you see here this Bp distance is R minus A. Similarly, you also required when you calculate the electric field intensity at P due to minus Q charge, then the distance is AP and that distance is R plus A. So here in case of plus Q charge, then E1 vector mod equal to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught Q upon, substitute the value of distance Bp, that is R minus A whole square. Mark this equation number 1. Now the direction of this electric field intensity is along Bp. Why it is along Bp? Because for calculating the electric field intensity at point P, you substitute a unit positive test charge at point P. So plus Q and plus unit test charge, so there is a repulsion. So direction of electric field intensity is the same as of the direction of force experienced by unit positive test charge. So that's why it is along Bp. Now electric field intensity at point P due to minus Q charge, which is E2 vector mod equal to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught Q upon AP square along PA. Now there is an attractive force on the unit positive test charge because of the minus Q charge. So its direction is along PA. Now substitute the value of PA. Then the equation becomes E2 vector mod equal to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught Q upon R plus A whole square. Mark this equation number 2. Since from these two equations it is very clear that E1 is greater than E2. So the resultant electric field intensity at point P is E vector mod equal to E1 vector mod minus E2 vector mod. Substitute the value of E1 and E2 from equation 1 and 2. Then what you will get? E vector mod equal to Q upon 4 pi epsilon naught, which is common in equation 1 and 2. Take outside the bracket. Inside the bracket is 1 upon R minus A whole square minus 1 upon R plus A whole square. Take the LCM and solve it. Then you will get E vector mod equal to Q upon 4 pi epsilon naught. LCM is R square minus A square whole square. Therefore, in numerator R plus A whole square minus R minus A whole square. Now open it by using the formula a plus b whole square and a minus b whole square. I hope everybody know this one. Then E vector mod equal to q upon 4 pi epsilon naught, and this becomes r square plus a square plus 2ar within bracket minus within bracket r square plus a square minus 2ar upon r square minus a square whole square. When you open the bracket in numerator, then what happens? R square get cancelled, a square get cancelled, and 2ar plus 2ar, that becomes 4ar. So E vector mod equal to q upon 4 pi epsilon naught 4ar upon r square minus a square whole square. Now you rearrange this 4ar like that, 2a into 2r. Then what you will get? E vector mod equal to q upon 4 pi epsilon naught 2a into 2r upon r square minus a square whole square. Now you just studied that product of magnitude of charge, either charge, and distance between them is electric dipole moment. So q into 2a is p. Substitute this value. Then E vector mod equal to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught 2pr upon r square minus a square whole square. This is the desired result, that is electric field intensity at a point on the axial line of an electric dipole. Now here we take one condition. If electric dipole is very small, then say r is greater than a, then in that condition a square can be neglected from equation number 3. Then the expression becomes E vector mod equal to 2pr upon 4 pi epsilon naught r raised to the power 4. Then one r get cancelled. Then the final equation becomes E vector mod equal to 2p upon 4 pi epsilon naught r cube. Here 2 is constant, p is constant, 4 pi epsilon naught constant. Then electric field intensity at a point on axial line of an electric dipole is inversely proportional to r cube. Remember it, in case of point charge, electric field intensity is inversely proportional to r square, and in case of electric dipole, it is inversely proportional to r cube. Now we talk about the direction of electric field intensity at point P. Since E1 is greater than E2, so obviously the direction is along E1. So resultant electric field intensity is direction along E1. Then we correlate it with direction of electric dipole moment. Its direction is from negative charge to positive charge, which is represented by this arrow. So what we say, the direction of electric field intensity at a point on axial line due to an electric dipole is always along the direction of electric dipole moment. This is about electric field intensity at a point on axial line. Similarly, we find out electric field intensity at a point on equatorial line of an electric dipole. So before starting, we must understand what is equatorial line. Equatorial line is the line which passes through the axis of an electric dipole and perpendicular on it and passes through its center. So you understand further like that. Equatorial line is the line which is perpendicular to the axis of electric dipole passes through its center. This OP line, you see that this is called equatorial line of an electric dipole, which is perpendicular to the axis of the dipole and passes through its center. Now for finding the electric field intensity, we consider an electric dipole which consists minus q plus q charges separated by small distance 2a. So OA equal to A and OB equal to A. Let P be a point at distance small r from the center of the dipole at which electric field intensity is to be determined. So similarly, as you have done in the previous case, we will find out the electric field intensity at point P due to plus q charge, then due to minus q charge. For that purpose, we place here a unit positive test charge. So the direction of electric field intensity at P due to the plus q charge is along PB, which is represented by E1 vector. Similarly, electric field intensity's direction at point P due to minus q charge is along PA, which is represented by E2 vector. So we have to find out first magnitude of E1 and E2, then we calculate electric field intensity at point P. For that purpose, you must know the distance BP and AP. By Pythagoras theorem, you can calculate OB is A, OP is R, then PB is under root R square plus A square. Similarly, AP is under root R square plus A square. Now, we resolve this E1 vector into the two rectangular components. Then E2 vector also resolved in two rectangular components. See here. When E1 vector you resolve, then the vertical component which you get, that is E1 sin theta, and its horizontal component is E1 cos theta. Similarly, when we resolve E2 vector, then its vertical component is E2 sin theta, horizontal component is E2 cos theta. Now we calculate electric field intensity at P, first due to the plus q charge. It is 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught q upon Bp square, which we are representing by E1 vector mod, and its direction is along Bp. Now Bp equal to under root R square plus A square. Substitute this value, then the equation becomes E1 vector mod equal to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught q upon R square plus A square. Under root get cancelled. Now mark this equation number 1. Similarly, find out electric field intensity at P due to minus q charge. So what you get? E2 vector mod equal to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught q upon AP square. Its direction is along PA. Substitute the value of AP. So E2 vector mod equal to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught q upon under root R square plus A square whole square. So finally you will get 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught q upon R square plus A square. That is equation 2. Now you see from equation 1 and 2, E1 and E2 are equal. So when E1 and E2 are equal, then their vertical components E1 sin theta and E2 sin theta, they are acting in opposite direction, so they cancel each other. So only the components left E1 cos theta and E2 cos theta. So that's why the resultant electric field intensity at P becomes E equal to E1 cos theta plus E2 cos theta. Or we can say that E equal to 2E1 cos theta, because E1 equal to E2. Then you substitute the value of E1 from equation 1. So what you get? 2 into 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught Q upon R square plus A square, and substitute the value of cos theta. So you calculate the value of the cos theta from this triangle OPB, that is cos theta equal to base upon hypotenuse. So A upon under root R square plus A square. Substitute this value here and solve it. What you will get? E equal to P upon 4 pi epsilon naught within bracket R square plus A square raised to the power 3 by 2. This is the desired result of electric field intensity at a point on equatorial line of an electric dipole. Now we take one condition. If dipole is very short, that is R is greater than A, then A square can be neglected from equation 3. Then equation 3 becomes E equal to P upon 4 pi epsilon naught R cube. Again, P is constant, 4 pi epsilon constant. Then electric field intensity is inversely proportional to R cube. So remember it, in case of electric dipole, electric field intensity is inversely proportional to R cube. But if you are taking a point charge, then electric field intensity is inversely proportional to R square. Now just you have derived formula for axial line, that is E equal to P 2P upon 4 pi epsilon naught R. And in case of the equatorial line, it is E equal to P upon 4 pi epsilon naught R. So you can also find out a relation between the E axial and E equatorial. So E axial is basically equal to twice of E equatorial in case of when the dipole is very small. Now we come to the direction. What is the direction of total electric field intensity at point P on equatorial line? Then you can see that the direction of electric dipole moment is represented by this arrow, and the direction of total electric field intensity is represented by this arrow. So from here it is very clear that the direction of electric field intensity at a point on equatorial line due to an electric dipole is parallel and opposite to the direction of electric dipole moment. So this is about electric field intensity at a point on equatorial line. Now we calculate torque acting on electric dipole when placed in a uniform electric field. So for that purpose, again we consider an electric dipole which consists minus q charge and plus q charge separated by a small distance 2a. Then the force experienced by plus q charge is q e vector, and its direction is along the direction of electric field. Whereas force experienced by minus q charge is q e vector, whose direction is opposite to the direction of electric field. So both the forces magnitude QE acts in opposite direction, due to which the net force acting on electric dipole moment is zero when placed in external uniform electric field. That's why there is no translatory motion of electric dipole, but the forces are acting along different line of action which constitute a couple. Due to this couple, electric dipole rotates and experience a torque, and that torque equal to, already you studied in class 11th, torque equal to force multiplied by perpendicular distance. So here torque equal to electric force multiplied by perpendicular distance, that is tau equal to QE, either force, and perpendicular distance BC. You can see that either you take this force that is onto the plus Q charge or onto the minus Q charge, BC is always a perpendicular distance for these two forces. And from the triangle ABC, you see it, sine theta equal to perpendicular upon hypotenuse, that is BC upon AB, but AB equal to 2A, so sine theta equal to BC upon 2A, and then BC equal to 2A sine theta. Substitute this value here in place of BC, then the expression becomes tau equal to QE 2A sine theta. Then Q into 2A, electric dipole moment. So the final expression that becomes tau equal to PE sine theta. In vector form when we write, then tau vector equal to P vector cross E vector. In 11th class you have studied the vector product or the cross product. So the direction of tau, which is perpendicular to the plane containing P vector and E vector, and its direction is shown here. This is a P vector, this is the E vector, they are at angle theta. So when the electric dipole rotates in electric field, then the direction of the torque is perpendicular and into the plane containing P vector and E vector. You can also find out the SI unit of the torque, that is Newton meter, which you have also studied in class 11th. So this is about torque acting on electric dipole in uniform electric field. Now we take some special cases. When it rotates, so when it rotates, then your aim is to bring the dipole in the direction of electric field. So we take here some special cases. When theta equal to 0, what you are getting? When theta equal to 180 degree, then what condition you are getting? And when theta equal to 90 degree, then what you are getting? From this expression in CBSE, definitely they ask question. So we are taking the special cases. First one is if theta equal to 0, then from that equation tau equal to P sine theta. So in place of theta you put 0 degree, then tau equal to P E sine 0, and sine 0 is 0, so the torque tau equal to 0. What is the actual meaning is this? When sine 0 equal to 0 and tau equal to 0 you are getting, then this condition which we say that it is the condition of stable equilibrium. So what do you understand by this condition? This condition means that electric dipole now is in the direction of electric field. So both are in the same direction, P and E. So that condition is known as stable equilibrium. But if theta equal to 180 degree, then tau equal to P sine 180 degree. So sine 180 degree is also 0. So again tau equal to 0. So you see the difference. Then this condition is known as unstable equilibrium. So your aim is to rotate the dipole and bring dipole along the direction of electric field. But here what happens? Here the electric field and the dipole, they are in the opposite direction. So that's why we say that it is unstable condition. So P and E, they are in opposite direction. Now if theta equal to 90 degree, then what the expression you will get? Tau equal to Pe sine 90 degree. Sine 90 is 1, so you will get the maximum torque. So in that case you are getting the maximum torque. So these are the three conditions or special cases. From these conditions in CBSE 1 marks they ask the question, just like write the condition for stable equilibrium or unstable equilibrium, or in what condition the torque will be maximum. Now we take a special case. You are calculating the torque when electric dipole is placed in uniform electric field. If electric field is not uniform, then what happens? So first you understand, when the electric field is uniform, at that time the net force acting onto the dipole is 0. So that's why there is no translational motion. But if the electric field is not uniform, then the net force on electric dipole is not 0. If it is not 0, then what happens? See here, we are taking two conditions. One is when the P and E, electric dipole moment and electric field, they are parallel. When they are parallel, then you see in the diagram, the dipole has the net force in the direction of increasing field. How? Here we have placed a source charge and this electric dipole. Then the direction of the electric dipole from minus Q to plus Q. And the direction of the electric field is also in this direction. So when the dipole moves toward the source charge, then the electric field increases and force experienced by the dipole is in the direction of increasing field. But when P and E are anti-parallel, now you see that now here it is minus Q charge and plus Q charge. So this diagram is different than the previous one. So it means P and E are anti-parallel. So in that condition, the dipole is moving away from the source charge. So it means the direction of the force is opposite to the direction of increasing field, that is towards decreasing field. So the net force on the electric dipole is in the direction of decreasing field. Now you understand its very interesting example. In my first video, I gave that example when a comb run through the dry hairs, attract pieces of the paper. Now paper is a dielectric. Paper itself not having any charge. So when the comb rub through the dry hairs, then the comb gets charged, hair gets charged, but pieces of the paper remains uncharged. So how they get attract towards the charged comb? So what happens when you bring the charged comb near to the pieces of the paper? Then it induces electric dipole on the pieces of the paper. That phenomena is known as polarization of dielectric. So that's why we say that charged comb polarizes the pieces of the paper. That is, induces a net dipole moment. And that induced dipole moment is in the direction of electric field produced by charged comb. And that electric field produced by the charged comb is not uniform. So it is not uniform. In this situation, the pieces of paper, because of induced electric dipole moment, attracted in the direction of electric field produced by charged comb. And that activity you can understand by one animation. See here, comb runs through the hair, then it gets charged, and this charged comb brings near to the pieces of paper, induces electric dipole movement on the pieces of the paper, and then it attract towards the charged comb because of induced dipole movement on pieces of paper due to the charged comb. And this electric field is non-uniform. So the net force which developed on the pieces of paper is attracted towards charged comb. So that is the reason the pieces of paper get attracted towards the charged comb. Now another topic is electric potential energy of electric dipole in uniform electric field. For that purpose, we consider an electric dipole whose dipole moment is P placed in uniform electric field. Already you have studied when electric dipole placed in uniform electric field, then it experiences a torque. Let the dipole moment of electric dipole makes an angle theta with the direction of electric field. Then the torque acting onto the dipole is tau equal to Pe sin theta. Now if this dipole rotate through an angle theta, then work has to be done. That work dw equal to tau d theta. And in place of the tau, you substitute the value Pe sine theta d theta. Since it is a small angular displacement, now if we calculate total work done for calculating or for rotating electric dipole from theta 1 to theta 2, then we integrate it. So when we integrate it, then what you will get? W equal to integral from theta 1 to theta 2, then Pe sine theta d theta, or W equal to Pe integration of sine theta is minus cos theta, limits are theta 1 and theta 2, then W equal to minus Pe, negative sign that we have taken outside the bracket, then upper limit minus lower limit, so cos theta 2 minus cos theta 1. Then this work done is stored as the potential energy of dipole in uniform electric field. So finally, this W can be written as U. U is the representation of potential energy. U equal to minus Pe within bracket cos theta 2 minus cos theta 1. Further, if we say that theta 1 equal to 90 degree, means when the dipole is at 90 degree with the direction of electric field and rotate it to the angle theta. Then from this equation 2, what we will get? If theta 1 equal to 90 degree and theta 2 equal to theta, then the expression becomes U equal to minus Pe cos theta. That equation 3. Now further we take here some special cases when theta equal to 0 degree, then from equation 3, U equal to minus Pe cos 0. Cos 0 is 1, so this becomes equal to minus Pe. In this position, the dipole has the minimum potential energy and hence it is in stable equilibrium. So this is the condition for the stable equilibrium. Now another condition we take, if theta equal to 90 degree, then U equal to minus Pe cos 90 degree. That is equal to 0. Cos 90 is 0, so it is 0. In this position, the potential energy of the dipole is 0. When theta equal to 180 degree, then U equal to minus Pe cos 180 degree. Cos 180 degree is minus 1, so that becomes plus Pe. In this position, the dipole has maximum potential energy and it is in unstable equilibrium. So if you like my video, then please like, subscribe and press the bell icon. Thank you and have a nice day.